Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as we continue to our series on Black History Week, I have the honor and pleasure of being able to sit down with a local hometown girl, a mover and shaker in our community, and also an entrepreneur here in our community. Today, my guest is none other than April Ross. So, April, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I'm always nervous when I have another host on because...
No, don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I'm nervous.
Oh, my goodness, I can't believe that. But, you know, it's a pleasure to sit down with you, April. Mm-hmm. Before we get started in talking about how, you know, we're focusing and showcasing African American Month.
Yes.
Black History Month. And we know when we started talking about people, so many times we reflect on those pioneers that have paved the way. And don't get me wrong, we definitely have to stand on their shoulders and their platforms and their foundations. But we have movers and shakers and pioneers in everyday life that walk among us. And you're one of those. Before we get started, April, just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, I'm April Ross, born and raised here in LaGrange, Georgia. Went to Alabama State University, graduated from there. Okay. So going Hornets. Yeah. And then I pursued my career in radio television. Okay. So for the last 3 years, I've been doing BeeTV, which is online on Facebook. But of course, now we're transitioning to the TV station. Okay. Well, I have 5 kids. Okay. Right. We got a blended family. Okay. So we have 5 kids, and I've been married to Corey Ross for the last 16 years. Oh, my. Yes. Okay. Well, very good. You said Alabama State. My brother's a graduate of Alabama State. Oh, really? Yeah, well, he's a fine young man. Then.
Well, we'll talk about that offset. Okay. But yes, he is. He's an outstanding gentleman. Pilot in the Air Force for 20 years. Yes,
look at there. See?
Yeah, he is.
Good things come out from Montgomery out of there.
That's right. I must brag on. He's another mover and shaker as well. So April, here in our community now, and as we were talking offset, I know your family. I think one of the unique things about when you come from a small town, if you talk long enough, you know somebody that knows somebody.
That's right. And that's what I love about the local, local hometown feel is because you'll end up saying, "Oh, I know them."
That's right. Absolutely. And as we were talking, I know your sister. Right. Yeah, Beverly. And when you said Beverly, because I remember, because I'm a graduate of Troop High School, and I always like to make sure my viewers know the original Troop High School, Whitesville Road.
That's the original. I'm the new one. We came from the one on Hamilton Road.
Okay, all right. So that's right, the original Troop High School. But yeah, I went to school. Your sister's a little bit older than myself, but I know that she knows my older brothers as well. So there again, local homegrown person that's doing wonderful things here in our community. April, you went off to Alabama State, you pursued your career there. What did that take you from when you graduated Alabama State?
Well, actually, quite honestly, you know how when you get that piece of paper, you think you're going to have that dream job, and then you don't? So that's what happened to me. Actually, I was working behind the scene. I did get a few jobs. I worked in Columbus at WRBL as a audio tech. But even though, the audio tech, they kind of wear jeans and, everything, I wore my suit every day. Because I didn't come to stay at that job. I wanted the anchor seat or the reporter.
Got to prepare yourself.
Right, I had to prepare myself. So I really was grooming myself for that position. However, the position never came. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? So stopped working in Columbus and then pursuing other things. And then I ended up doing my Facebook Live, which is BeeTV. So really that kind of, we didn't have in our area, I'm in the West Point kind of area, so we didn't have local news. When things would break out, nobody knew what was going on because we had to wait till Columbus come to the area to tell us what was going on in our area. So when they invented Facebook Live, that gave me a platform. Okay. So I created my own journey and started just chasing fire trucks and chasing the police department to see what was going on. So I knew I had the skill to do it. It's just I didn't have a platform. So then with the Facebook Live, I was able to create that.
Very good. And so many times things go on in our community, and I'm kind of ashamedly to say, when we were here on the 3rd floor at City Hall, we used to get the newspaper all the time, and we would glance at it. But now that I'm down on the first floor, we don't take the paper down there.
Right.
People be telling me, well, such and such went on. And I'm like, okay.
I know that.
Well, yeah.
Things have changed.
Things have changed.
And really with that phone, everything is readily available.
Yes, it is. That was my point I'm making.
Yes.
You can just hop on your phone and there it is.
There it is.
And
here we are. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, and then you are now transitioning somewhat too.
Again.
So again, that's what I'm saying. A mover and shaker right here in our own community. Started out with your Facebook platform.
Right.
And that's, like I said, that's instant information.
Right.
Now you're being able to move into brick and mortar.
Right, brick and mortar. Now we are blessed to be able to purchase the old TV 33, which is formerly WJCN. Grew up watching that station, and actually I interned there when I was at Alabama State.
Okay.
Back in the day. And so now we talked to the previous owner about purchasing it, and God blessed us to be able to get it.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Let me ask you now, and as talk show hosts and personalities and things of that nature, do you always feel energized and ready to go on set?
I have to get ready. In my mind, I have to put on my alter ego.
Right.
I'm the honeybee in my head.
Okay.
So as you can see, I dress like a bee.
That's right.
And that's all the time. People ask me, do you have any other colors? I said, no. I'm branding all the time.
I see.
So no, I'm never, in a mood. Like last night, I was weighed down with so much that I had to do for today. People ask me all the time, how do you get to every city? How do you be, 1 minute you're there, 1 minute you're, I just don't think about it. I just do it. But I prepare my mind to say, God, you blessed me with this opportunity. So I got to I don't have time to be negative about it. I got to remain positive. So just where do I go? And then I put my face on and I'm ready.
That's it. That's it. Because there are days when, and then I always say, when you have a great guest, that makes your job so much easier, because my job right now is so easy because it just flows. And I thank God for all of my guests that I have on, because it's just easy.
Right. It makes it easier because I know when I have a guest and they have that one answer, one word answer, and I'm like, hello, talk to me.
Got to pull it out, right?
Exactly.
Pull it
Exactly.
out. Absolutely. Now, let me ask you, April, because of the fact, and I saw one of your segments, you were featuring one of our very own local pioneers here in our community too, Mrs. Marguerite Julian.
Oh, my goodness.
Talk about that interview a little bit, if you don't.
That was amazing. I said I wanted to do something for Black History Month, and I thought about our educators.
Yes.
And I born and raised out of the area, but I'm like you, I did not want to overlook those who have paved the way. So I called Dr. Edmondson and I said, I need you to give me some names. And he named her off the back, and he said, she's a brilliant woman. Yes. He said she graduated from high school at 16 years old. You got to interview her. So I called her, and, I went to her, and I've heard her name before. And when I went in, of course, she had on the bright red, bright orange and all the bangles and everything. And that interview, I actually talked to her last night to let her, to thank her for allowing me, because so many of her students have seen it. And that was, this lady inboxed me from South Carolina. She said she hadn't been in LaGrange in 10 years. She said, but when she saw that interview, she said, I swear I thought about when I got in trouble in her class. She said she put me out. She said, but I thank God she put me out.
Yes.
It made me a better person. But that interview right there, and how real she was, she was like, I get fired today if I was a teacher.
And she was just that way.
Did you have her?
I had Miss Julian
You
as well.
did?
Yes,
really?
ma'am.
And it was funny because I saw people who said, she taught me and my dad. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's been there a long time.
And doesn't look like she has aged a bit.
That's what a lot of people said. It was like the people were inboxing me saying, how old is she? Did you ask her? And I was like, she's 75. She wasn't ashamed to tell her age. Yeah. But she was just, just as vibrant.
Yes.
In everything, So it was good seeing her, good meeting her. That was a great interview.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I know that so many of the students from my era, 82 era, and beyond, can think back to the trips that she took us on.
Yes.
I remember so vividly We went to Panama City, Florida one year.
Really?
She took students on a trip every year somewhere. And I still remember that trip. That we went on back in 81, I believe it was, down to Panama City, Florida. Yes, we did.
Well, a lot of students, black, white, they were just saying great, nice things. And that made me think about how it was, you know. We did it about Black history. She said, I never saw race. I never saw. Right. I saw children, you know, and I taught them all the same, and that made a difference. Yes, and you can see it because of the comments that are on there, that are on the page. You can see it.
Well, look, April, as we, you know, we're finishing up, and so many times we celebrate Black History Month, February.
Right.
But for you and I, we know that Black history is every day.
Yes.
What would you say to our generation coming behind us? Because yet and still, we have to remember and reflect on those pioneers that paved the way, laid the foundation. But yet and still, what would you say to those individuals that have watched your show, that watched this show? What would you say to them about Black history and how they can impact history?
I think that what we've forgotten with this generation that's coming, that hard work pays off, and nothing is going to come easy. It didn't come easy for our parents, but I think that if you stay on the study course of what you're doing, it will pay off after a while, as Grandmama used to say.
That's right.
And I watched my dad, and it's so ironic with me with this station, because the first owner of the station, my dad was his yard man, and I would watch my dad work really hard and labor for that, working hard in the vineyard, I would say, for that man. But his hard work paid off, because now his daughter owns that station. And that's how God will bring that whole thing around. And I think for our youth, that they want it so easy. We have made the material things like that's equals success. It doesn't. Remember, your character means everything. Like I tell people, it ain't about the money, but it's about my integrity in what I do.
That's right.
People will throw their integrity aside for some money. I'm not going to do that. And I want our young people to realize that's what our forefathers did. The integrity was everything. When you saw them walking down the street, they walked in their suits.
That's right. Absolutely.
They made a difference.
Yes.
Silent, but yet walking with their suits on, dressed up, because they were wanted to be recognized that I want you to respect me. You know, a lot of people are not going to respect you because of the way you act. You're not going to get anything solved. So I just think that we, as the ones that are coming behind us, that put in the hard work, it'll pay off.
That's right.
And always have integrity in everything that you do, because everything, at the end of the day, your character means everything. The money will fade away, but what people have to say about you is everything.
Absolutely. That's such a fitting and closing comment. But I do want to ask one last question before. BE Network. How did that come about?
Well, at first I started my company as Honey Productions Entertainment. Honey is because me and my husband, we never have called each other by name. Never. It's always Honey. It's honey, 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 honey. I mean, even his sister, when she calls, she says, "Your Honey there?" Because she don't call me that either. She just called me Honey, you know. So I call him Honey. So I knew that we were going to start interviewing and doing all this other stuff. But I didn't want to use Honey Productions. And so I said, well, Honey BeeTV. So now I'm a bumblebee.
Now you're the bumblebee. Going back to your alma mater, right?
Exactly, black and gold.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So people will say, "Are you from Alabama? Did you attend Alabama State?" I said, "Yes, but this is BeeTV." BeeTV colors, right?
Absolutely. Well, Bev, I want to just say, April, it has been a pleasure sitting down with you, because
my pleasure.
I asked you that question about, do you always feel? Because this morning I was just really not feeling being in this interview, but you have really lifted spirits. Because sometimes, like I say, sometimes you got to put on that personality, and you got to get in there and get it done. Like I say, put in the work.
Put in the work.
You got to put in the work.
And the days are not always going to be good, but you got to make them good.
That's right.
Find the positive.
That's right.
In your day.
Absolutely. I want to thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Anytime that I can do anything to help you with BeeTV Network, let me know.
I will. I'm just going to take all your cameras when I leave.
Okay. Well, I don't know. The guys might have a little bit of something to say about that.
No, you can't do that, huh?
Okay, I can't do quite that one, but anything else, I'll try to help, okay?
Okay.
April, thank you so very much for being my guest today as we continue to finish up our segments on Black History Month. So thank you for being the mover and shaker here in our community that you are. And I'm hoping that everybody will come out and support you in all that you do.
Okay? Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more Secret Week coming up in just a moment.